Welcome to the Capital Discussions QuantyCarlo Education Series. I'm Tom Nunemaker with Larry Richards with me. Before we get started, a quick disclaimer that Capital Discussions is not a broker-dealer or an investment advisor. This presentation is for educational purposes only. We don't know your situation and have no way of knowing what level of risk is appropriate for you. We're not making any specific trade recommendations. The risk of loss in trading options can be substantial, so please be aware of all of your risks prior to placing any trades. Hypothetical computer simulated trades are believed to be accurately represented. However, actual profit or loss may vary due to market factors such as liquidity, slippage, and commissions. So with that out of the way, welcome back, Larry. I know we had to skip a couple of these, but it's always nice to have you back, and I guess you've got some exciting news, too.
Oh, we have a few bits of good news for everyone today, so looking forward to sharing.
Okay, you've got the ball, so you can share your screen and get going.
Super. Okay, hold on just a sec.
Okay, I see your screen, Larry.
Okay, great. Well, welcome everyone to this QuantyCarlo education. It's been a while since we've had one of these. Today, I figured we would go over a few of the following items, just a few general updates. Then I wanted to say a couple of things about QuantyCarlo Enterprise Edition, what's new with this, and just a general overview for those of you who are not familiar. And then I want to give you a preview of QuantyCarlo 1.0. This is something that we're planning to release in August. And I wanted to show you some of the interactive samples. I wanted to show you another new feature that we've added recently, which is point-and-click editing. This is another suggestion from the QuantyCarlo community that drag-and-drop editing is, for some people, not very comfortable, so they prefer point-and-click. And then finally, I'd like to demonstrate how we now have the capability for external TA signals. So, for example, if you use AmiBroker or TradeStation or multi-charts or just any software that generates trade signals, you can now use QuantyCarlo as an extension of those programs to actually trade and test those signals using options instead of the underlying asset. So with that agenda, I'd like to go ahead and start. First of all, general updates. We've had a few bug fixes lately. This last week, we noticed that historical volatility calculation was not working properly. In fact, it was incorrect. And so one of our users pointed that out, and we investigated and found out that the formula was wrong. So we corrected that, and now it's should be, well, it is. We've verified that it's calculating the correct historical volatility, so you can use that now. There were some other issues with trade playback, especially if you were playing back the first trade in a number of trades within a specific back test. You would get an error message. We fixed that now. That should not appear anymore. There have been also some memory leaks and sluggishness on Windows and Mac, and for different reasons. And we've fixed many of those memory leaks. There may be one or two left, but we're working on finding all of them and fixing them so that this won't happen. Basically what happens is that after you've used QuantyCarlo for a while, the memory that's been allocated to QuantyCarlo gets filled up, and so it slows down and it can even freeze. And you just need to restart the application. But, you know, like I said, most of this has been fixed, so it's much better now. Recent data issues, I wanted to give everyone an update. The data viewer has had a problem where data was not showing properly, especially around right before and after stock splits and stock or ETF or whatever. Whenever there's a split or a reverse split, the data viewer was not showing that data properly, but now we've fixed that. And in RUT, it's been brought to our attention that there are 4 missing dates. Actually, we went back in 2015, by the way. These are recent dates. We went back and looked, and 2 of these dates, we actually had the data, but somehow they didn't get installed. But 2 of the dates, we didn't really get the data from our data vendor, so we're going back to the data vendor. So this is being addressed at the moment. VIX, likewise, the IV and Greeks we noticed were incorrect. So because the VIX is actually our first futures option that we're installing, there are a few nuances about the IV and Greeks for futures options, and our data team were not accustomed to dealing with that. So the first deployment of VIX was actually with incorrect IV and Greeks. But now we're reinstalling that. It's going to be correct. And so that should be usable within, I would say, a week or so. Okay, now I wanted to tell everyone about QuantyCarlo Enterprise Edition. Now, this is not something that we've really advertised too aggressively, but essentially this is a really high-octane version of QuantyCarlo with dedicated software and 2 programming APIs that you can use from within Eclipse IDE. It's been under heavy usage for more than a year. We have, let's see, we have 2 really heavy users that are part of the QuantyCarlo family. And then we have a new user coming on board right now. One of the things that we've done lately is enhance the automation of factorial analysis. For those of you who may not be familiar with factorial analysis is a very well-established field in the well-established science in the field of mostly industrial applications, where essentially what you're doing is you're taking the factors that affect the outcome of whatever process it is that you're optimizing. In our case, we're optimizing trading processes, and there are factors that we can identify. And for example, the strike, what strike are you going to select? Should it be a 10 delta or 15 delta or 20 delta? That might be a factor that you would want to analyze. And you might want to study a range of between 10 and 20 delta. Or maybe if you're using a percentage of the underlying, you might want to try between 80 and 90% of the underlying, for example. So rather than giving it a specific value, you give it a range of values, and then factorial analysis is a technique to then look at all of the factors together that affect the outcome. For example, minimizing the number of consecutive losses, or improving the return on investment, or improving the win rate, that sort of thing. And so this is something that is automated within QuantyCarlo Enterprise Edition. We also have enhanced automation of trade optimization. Now, for trade optimization, that is a second step to the process where basically we take the results of tens of thousands or even more of back tests. Each back test could be 10 or 11 years of data, right? And then you take literally tens of thousands of those, and you have this gigantic database spreadsheet, essentially, that you input into our trade optimization module. And then we apply what's called applied predictive modeling. You see that I've got a screenshot of the book here written by Max Kuhn and Kel Johnson. Well, Kel Johnson is our advisor and has helped us to develop this trade optimization module. And this does a lot of the things that you will find in, for example, if you're familiar with Robert Pardoe's book, The Evaluation and Optimization of Trading Strategies, he talks about out-of-sample testing there. A lot of trading system development books will talk about out-of-sample testing. Well, this, the science of applied predictive modeling has really taken this to an extreme level. The concept of using various techniques to split your data so that you can have more, as many as possible out-of-sample tests. And all of this is, like I said, automated and into a single process. It doesn't require any writing of code for you to do this. We've got a user-friendly interface for this. And another thing that the last thing that I'll just mention is that the predicted results are consistent with the live trading results in an 8-month trial that we've done so far. So what we did is about a year ago, we optimized a particular trade with a partner of ours. And then we started trading it live 8 months ago, and the predicted results were actually, they seemed too good to be true, but the live results actually have borne out the predicted results and are very, very consistent, which is, I think, a testament to the effectiveness of this applied predictive modeling and factorial analysis, all automated and all built into QuantyCarlo Enterprise Edition. But you don't need to learn about all of these minutiae yourselves, because you can get IOTA to do it for you. IOTA are the designers of QuantyCarlo. We're IOTA Technologies. I'm the CEO. And we deliver custom optimization solutions based on QCEE, QuantyCarlo Enterprise Edition, and other proprietary tools, saving you time and cost. So you don't really have to be a user. You don't even have to purchase a license for QuantyCarlo Enterprise Edition. You can just ask us, and we will do the work for you. And we have a number of different hedge fund customers who have expressed an interest in this particular service. And this is part of the business that we're looking to grow at the moment. Okay, so that's all I'll say about QuantyCarlo Enterprise Edition at the moment. Next, I'd like to talk about QuantyCarlo 1.0, and then soon after that, I'll give an example. There are dozens of new features and enhancements suggested by the QuantyCarlo community. We have a new basic mode and advanced mode, which I'll demonstrate to you in a moment. We have, in basic mode, we have interactive samples. These are pre-built samples that you can interact with. You don't have to learn any new concepts. You don't have to, basically anyone who can use a browser can do automated backtesting using these interactive samples. Okay. We also have, as we've said, support for external technical analysis signals, And we have usability enhancements, and like I said, it's planned for release in August. Okay, that's the end of my presentation, and now I'd like to show you, this is a prototype, or this is actually the development version of QuantyCarlo 1.0. And whenever you start it up and log in, this is what you see. This is the new interface. You'll notice that it's completely new. It's much simpler than the old interface, and it's more like a browser. So we have the documentation. This will take you to the page, the web page that has all the documentation. If you want to see the tutorials, we've got a link to that web page as well. If you click Community, you'll be taken to the QuantyCarlo forums. What we're going to look at today are the interactive samples, and the entry point is here. So we have baseline samples and then we have realistic samples. The baseline samples are not meant to be realistic trading strategies or trading algorithms. They're meant to give you an idea of how the different possible trades in options work. So let me just, rather than explain with words, it's easier to show. So for example, if I wanted to see how a single option performed, let's say I want to see how a long call performs. Well, I can click here and notice that I can just click Run, and I'll automatically be running this backtest with the default settings. And with the default settings, we've made sure that it's profitable. This is using, by the way, a synthetic market. We wanted to make things deterministic. It's often very helpful to have a deterministic market rather than a realistic historical market. For example, if you wanted to test out one of your bullish adjustments, or if you wanted to test a bearish adjustment, then you need a market that's consistently bearish in that case. Well, this is a consistently, what we call a gently rising market. Here, now you'll notice this is pretty familiar. This is from a holdover from the earlier legacy interface. The statistics over here are the same. The export to Excel feature is the same. And we also can have a look at the table of trades. And in the table of trades, we can now click on a button to see, for example, by the way, just an aside, for these synthetic underlying assets, what I've done is set the date to 2030. The starting date is 2030, so that they won't be confused with any historical market data. This is from 2030 to 2031. So in case you notice that, you might think it's odd, but the reason is because we're distinguishing the synthetic from the historical. Okay, let's take a look at this particular trade and see what happened. So here I've got the long call, and I can see how it behaves. Notice that with a rising market, as you would expect, to the extent that the market, the underlying asset rises, we get profit. The long call that we purchased was originally for $9.82, and then over time It increases where finally it ends up at 1425. Okay. And the underlying has moved up about what looks like about 7%. And we've made about, let's say, 45% profit. Okay. So that is showing you a little bit about the power of leverage. Okay. Now let's go back, because this is not just a static demonstration. This is actually interactive. So I can go back here and I can modify the settings. What we've exposed here is I can take I can change the strike. Right now I'm doing the 10th in the money strike, but if I change this to the first in the money strike, let's see what happens. You'll recall that in the last case, so this is still profitable. It's interesting. This is still profitable. I didn't expect this one to be profitable with the first in the money strike. But let's go in and take a look. This is a strong bull market that we're using, so that's the reason why. So I expected this to actually be overcome by theta, but because we're using a strong bull market, we're actually moving faster than theta can pull us down. So in this case, we're actually gaining 164% profit. We're moving more than a standard deviation up during the course of this trade. So it's about a 7% move within a period of, let's see, about a month. Okay. Now let's go back and try the same market, but the same strike, but instead of a strong bull market, let's do a gently rising market. Okay, and now you'll see what I mean by the effect of theta dragging you down. Okay, notice how the equity curve already shows us that this is a bad strategy for a gently rising market. Notice we've lost on every trade. And let's take a look at and find out why. The trade playback gives us an idea of why we lost. Okay, so once again we purchased this call at 298. Okay, and the underlying is rising steadily, right? So you'd expect, okay, it's a long call, the underlying is rising, so I should be making money. But what's happening? Theta is pulling us down. Look at the value of theta here. It's -7. For every day that goes by, we're losing $7. So delta is giving us money for every dollar that the underlying moves upward. We gain $83 in profit, but for every day that goes by, we're losing $7. So unless the underlying is moving really fast, you can't outrun delta. You can't outrun theta, and that's what happens here. Is you've lost 17% on your original debit, and your original debit was it says 300 here because I guess that includes commission. Okay, no, that includes slippage and commission. Okay. So that's just one example of the interactive examples. Now, you might be wondering, what if I want to see how this thing is built? Because the old, what happened to the old legacy interface? You might be wondering. Well, we're calling the current mode of operation basic mode. Now if I wanted to switch to advanced mode, I could do that. Turn this on, right? And now I'm back to the legacy interface. Notice that I've got the trading plan over here rendered in plain English. I've got the old familiar trading rules. I've only got this one entry rule here, enter long call trade. I've got the project over here on the left, and I can look in the project and see that the project does indeed contain the long call trading plan. It has my enter long call trading rules, so I can open that up and take a look at that. I have an action called buy call, and we can take a look at this rule. The English language version of it says when the following condition is true. Basically, it's the DTE window. When we're in the DTE window, do the following: buy a call. Okay. Now, what does buy a call look like? Well, let's take a look. Here's basically it says execute trade action. Which trade? This position model, which is called a long call. And how many of them are we doing? We're doing one. So if we wanted to drill down even farther and see what does this position model look like, here it is. And if we want to see what the strike selector looks like, well, here's that. So just like before, we have all the same logic underlying all of the same symbolic expressions underlying these interactive samples. It's just that we are basically the person who uses this for the first time doesn't want to be overwhelmed by all this complexity. So what we've done is we've created the basic mode, which basically hides all of that complexity and gives you a few knobs to turn down here. You can adjust the strike or adjust the underlying asset like that. So that's basically a preview of the new user interface, which is, like I said, coming up in August as a part of the release of QuantyCarlo 1.0. Now I'm not seeing the WebEx controls. I can't really tell. Let's see here. Okay, Tom had to cut out. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Tom. Let's see here. All right, now I see the participants. So if that's if there are no questions or comments, then I will then now proceed to demonstrate the importing of trade signals from an external source. And I think I'll do that using not this test version of QuantyCarlo. I think I'll use the current production version. So let's see here. Here we go. Okay, so now I'm going to open up the project that we were just looking at. This is called Single Options, and I have in here a trading plan that uses signals, but I'm going to delete this and create it again just for demonstration purposes. So So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this, enter long call trade, okay? Save as, I'm going to call this signal centric. And to this new trading plan that I'm creating, there it is, I'm going to add, let's see here, wait a minute. I just clicked on the trade, the entry rule, not the trading plan. Okay, there we go. Let me start all over again. What I wanted to do is rename the trading plan, save as long call signal centric. Okay, very good. Okay, there it is. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to the Variables tab, and to this trading plan I'm going to add a new variable, and I'm going to call this buy, and you'll see why in a minute. Make it a Boolean variable and initialize it with the value false. So now I have this value buy. I'm not using it anywhere yet, but it's in my trading plan. And now what I'm going to do, you'll notice that we now have a settings tab. And this allows us to, for now, attach a CSV file. And I've prepared actually this CSV file. Let me show you what this looks like. This is the CSV file I've prepared. I've just arbitrarily selected a few dates in 2030 that I would like to place a trade on. I've created a column called buy, and for each of these I've set it to true. So that will be the value that is assigned, or buy becomes a read-only variable in this case. So essentially whenever we're on a particular date and the date appears in this CSV file and the corresponding column is true, then that variable will then be true. Okay, I hope I explained that clearly. Now let me go and attach this. Hold on a second. Let's see here. I'm going to attach this signals CSV. I've named it signals.csv. I'm going to open this up, and it asks me to define a primary trade signal column. I'm just going to choose buy as my trade signal column. So now we can see the same information that was in the CSV file. And now I have to choose whether I want to do one trade per signal or one trade per expiration. I can do either. A lot of people who typically trade with trade signals, TA signals, prefer to do one trade per signal. That way you could have multiple trades for a single expiration, or you could have some expirations that are skipped entirely because there's no trade signal. But in this case, let me do one trade per expiration. Actually, no, let me do one trade per signal. I'm still probably going to get some some aborted trades because I arbitrarily chose these. Notice I've chosen the 20th of each month, the 20th day of each month. And some of these are going to fall on a Saturday or a Sunday or a holiday. So as a result, some of these are going to be aborted, but I'll give that a try anyway. So now I'm all set. I'm just going to save my trading plan. And I have only one more step to go, and that is I'm not yet using the variable buy I'm not using this variable in my entry rule. I need to add this to my entry rule. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete this entry rule. Okay. Now I'm going to come over here and copy the original entry rule and rename it. And then I'll just go and modify it to use the variable buy. And then I'll be ready to do my signals-based tests. So let's open this up. Now what I want to do is go into the variables. I've got this variable called buy here. So I'm going to add this to my entry rule. Notice that now it says when the following condition is true, now I have to be both in the DTE window and I have to have this buy variable be true. Okay? So whenever that condition is met, I'm going to enter the trade. And because I don't have an exit rule here, it's just going to take it to expiration. So now, okay, I haven't added the rule. I haven't added the trading rule to my trading plan yet. So let's do that. Let's just add that rule as my entry rule. Now you see exactly what we were looking at a moment ago. You can see this. And if I wanted to, by the way, in case you're not familiar with this, you can save this as PDF. Like such. So if you want to have a PDF copy of your trading logic, that's how you would do it. So now let's run this thing. What I'll do is come up here to the job submission console. I'm going to choose long call signal centric, and I think I'll run it, well, because I've chosen dates in the 2030, in the year 2030, I need to come up to one of these synthetic markets. So I'll choose rising fast. Okay. Now let's see here. Submit job. No, I don't want to save. Let's see what happens. Okay. It looks like I got 3 wins out of 3 trades, but I got 2 aborted trades. And that's, I haven't checked this with the 2030 calendar, but I'm almost certain that the reason is because the signal, you'll notice we have a signal column here. The signal came on the 20th of the month, which in this case was probably a weekend or a holiday. Okay, so that's pretty much covering that pretty much covers everything that was on our agenda today. So are there any questions, any comments from the participants? Spencer, Mike, let's see. See if I can get, there we go. Oh, I see we have 7 participants already. Spencer's thinking. So what I think I'll do is I'll promote everyone to presenter or panelist. Yes, Corwin, it is possible to run this against historical data. What I would do is I would change the dates in that case. The historical data, in this case, right now I'm connected to the free server, the one that everyone can use for free, and so the symbols that are on there are include Baidu, Daya, Gold, Pepsi, Yahoo, and a few others. It's so I could run against those. I would not want to run the signal-centric version because of the dates. The dates don't match. But is that what you would like to see? Is how the long call would perform in against historical data? Let's give that a try. So I'm going to rather than the signal-centric version, I'm going to use the regular version. And do this instead of on a fast rising market. Why don't I do it on Baidu? Okay. I don't remember which dates I've selected for Baidu, but I think I've selected a year of Baidu for this. So there we go. Apparently Baidu was moving up during this period of time. This is 2009 to 2010. And we can see these trades. Here's a losing trade. Must have had a downturn on that day, and we can actually see let's take a look. The price movement, yeah, the price movement was up every expiration except for this one, in which case it went down $24. So that's why our long call lost. Basically, we lost all of our debit, I would imagine. Let's take a look at that and see. That's an error that I wasn't expecting. This apparently it's too much data for this memory. Let's take a look at another expiration. This is a bug that we've recently encountered. Sometimes this playback data can get quite large. Yeah, this is the playback data in this case is too large. But anyway, that gives you an idea of what you would do if you wanted to run it over historical data. There is going to be a, Kevin, yes, there is going to be a recording posted, so you can review this later. Any other questions? Let's see. Oh, you're quite welcome, Kevin. Spencer asks, I've noticed that the equities in the market list have changed. Is this set to an interim? The equities in the market list, are you talking about the synthetic, are you talking about, for example, this synthetic 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? Is that what you're talking about, Spencer? Yours has rut. That shouldn't be there. Rut would be a mistake. Oh, rut is there. Goodness. Why is rut? That's a mistake. We'll have to take care of that. Thanks for bringing that to my attention. I'll have to remove that from the freebie. We don't want to give away popular symbols in the free subscription, and removes all the incentive for people to move to the for pay subscription. Yes, okay. Maybe we'll leave part of it there. Any other questions? Okay, well, I think that concludes today's session. Thank you all for joining. So okay, Richard, let's see. It appears that the imported CSV is generated for one source of historical data, but then QC runs it against its version of historical data. This seems like a possible issue. Well, typically the source that's used for generating the signal is the underlying asset, right? And the underlying asset prices that we have are presumably the same as the underlying prices that would be used in another application. The difference is, I believe, that most of the applications that I've encountered in the development of this feature have used open, close, high, low, and our open price is actually 9:45 a.m. So there's a slight difference there. So we have 15-minute data. So we enable the user to run backtests over 15-minute increments, or end-of-day increments, or any. We could run one price per day and choose the 12 o'clock price, or the 1 o'clock, 1:30 or 1:15 or 1:45. You can choose that within QuantyCarlo, whereas that's probably slightly different from the platform that the signal was generated on. So yes, that could create some mismatches between the performance. But I think what the advantage of using options to trade signals is really to see how profitable you can make the option trade, right? So whether the underlying price is profitable, or whether the underlying price has made some sort of technical analysis formation, is not really so relevant as the profitability, in my opinion at least, the profitability of the option trade that you're running. So I think that the option trade should have its own exit criteria. But I know that there are others who want to set the entry date and the exit date on the signal that's generated by the trading the signal software like TradeStation or Multicharts or AmiBroker. So yes, there could be some mismatch issues there. Yes, Richard, they do generate both entry and exits. So we can handle entry and exits. You can just, for example, in this case, I've just put a buy here, but I could add another column that would be sell. Okay, and I know that there's some formatting issues. Some platforms output different formats. Some will have like another date and time column for the exit signal so that you could tell that this entry corresponds to this exit. And we're not compatible with that format just yet, but that's one of our things, one of the things on our list of things to do. Any more questions from the group? Oh, you're quite welcome, Richard. Quite welcome. Thank you very much, Spencer. Okay, everyone. Well, I'm just going to end it now. Thank you very much for joining.